Part 9. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 81. Chapter 81 give you a chance to confess. In the blink of an eye, the winner is decided. Zhao Yinshu was and had no room for resistance. The more he struggled, the tighter the red threads on his body became, and each one seemed to be cut into his flesh and blood. Of course, he has no flesh and blood, and the ghost body is burned by the red thread, and black gas sizzles out. "What's your trick?" Zhao Yinshu stared at Pei Anzu and asked unwillingly. Ghost arresting talisman array. Pei Anzu was not afraid to tell him, use the talisman as the array and merit as the eyes to arrest all ghosts. How about it? It tastes pretty good, right? Impossible, Zhao Yinshu couldn't believe it. How is it possible that there are such brilliant metaphysicians in today's Suanmen? They are a bunch of half-hearted people who can't even tell whether I am a human or a ghost. The talismans they drew have long since lost their effect. How is it possible? Is there anyone who can form a formation with talismans? In this world, Taoism has declined, and there are indeed no powerful metaphysics masters. Pei Anzu is an outsider. Of course, she would not tell the truth, she only said. There are many hermits and masters in this world. Don't think that they don't exist if you haven't met them. Now, I'll give you a chance to be honest and tell me everything you did to Miss Jean. If it's pity, I won't be able to show mercy to you. But if you are stubborn. Pei Anzu didn't finish his words, he just stretched out his right hand, opened his palm, and then grabbed it hard, making a fist gesture. And the red line on Zhao Yinshu's body became tighter and tighter with her movements. Severe pain came over him, as if it was invading his internal organs, limbs, and bones, and the pain was so painful that he felt smoke coming from all his senses. In fact, after becoming the Ghost King, he has been walking around the world. With his great strength, he has never been injured. Hence, his ghost body's ability to withstand pain has already declined. He couldn't bear the pain now. Pei Anzu told Zhao Yinshu with practical actions that with just one action, she could make him unable to live or die. This is the crushing and deterrence of strength. It also let Zhao Yinshu know that even if he didn't say anything, the young metaphysician in front of him could find out the truth through other methods. So, it is better to speak out and seek relief. Zhao Yinshu lowered his head dejectedly and said in a hoarse voice. Xiao Yu and I were once lovers, but later we both died due to an accident. I stubbornly refused to be reincarnated, and searched for her reincarnation in the world for 300 years, and finally found her reincarnation. Now, I just want to renew my relationship with her, and I ask the Kingzu Immortal Lord to make it happen. People always have a filter on their view of love. Many times, as long as it is in the name of love, it is reasonable to do anything, even if people and ghosts are on different paths, even if yin and yang are separated. Zhao Yinshu chose the love story of the past and present life as the entry point, just to arouse Pei Anzu's compassion. Who knows, before Pei Anzu had time to react, the audience in the live broadcast room jumped in. What a beautiful love this is. I admit that I was too loud to him just now. When will I meet a man who is so infatuated? 300 years. If this was done to another philanderer, the harem would be full, right? At Moshangxiao, little sister, please marry him, he has been waiting for you for 300 years. I imagined a poignant story in my mind every minute. They loved each other in their previous life and promised each other a lifetime, but they had to separate because of their family background and opposition from their parents. In order to resist their parents, they agreed to go together. Later, she was reincarnated, and he wandered around the world just to seek an unfinished relationship. The one upstairs, I'll give you the pen. Write quickly. Kingzu Immortal Lord, it took them 300 years to renew their relationship. Please don't beat the couple. Although he is a ghost, ghosts also have feelings. Zhao Yanchu made the audience in the live broadcast room switch sides with just a few words. However, he didn't know that Pei Anzu was live broadcasting. Seeing that Pei Anzu had no expression on his face and seemed not to be moved by his waiting and searching, he increased his intensity. Xiao and I were childhood sweethearts in our previous life, and we grew up together. I am the only son of a salt merchant in Chizhou. My family is wealthy and I was raised by my father as his heir in his previous life. Xiao was the daughter of the owner of Buzhuang and was considered a well-known merchant. Our two families are family friends and have similar family backgrounds, so we decided to get married when we were young. When we were of marriageable age, we married Xiaoyu. I never thought that the accident would come so unexpectedly. A group of horse bandits came outside Chizhou city. They burned, killed, looted, and committed all kinds of evil. My father traveled all over the country to do business. He valued road safety very much, so he advocated funding and recruiting warriors to go up the mountain to suppress the bandits. But those horse bandits were too cunning. They escaped a group of people and hid themselves, waiting for opportunities to retaliate. They knew that my father was the main messenger to suppress the bandits, so they put this account on our family. This wait will wait until the day Xiao and I get married. Xiao's sedan chair was robbed, and she was kidnapped by the horse bandits. I immediately chased her and tried to rescue her, but I couldn't defeat her with just 2 fists. Not only did I fail to save her, but I also ended up hurting myself. I knew it was me who felt sorry for Xiaoyu, and it was the hatred our family caused that caused her trouble. I was too obsessed with it, so I wasn't picked up right away. Instead of going to the underworld, he stayed in the human world and became a ghost to seek revenge on those horse bandits. When I finished my revenge and went to the underworld, I found that Xiaoyu had already been reincarnated. I didn't want to forget the memories I had with Xiaoyu, and I didn't want to never know her again after reincarnation, so I escaped from the underworld and hid in XZ, practicing while looking for Xiao's reincarnation. 300 years later, I finally found her 20 years ago. I know that the world is different now. I have nothing, I am broke, and I cannot give Xiao a good life. So, I used my ghost body to cultivate my physical body and worked hard to have an identity in this world. Only 3 years ago, I approached Xiao and renewed my relationship with her. Kingzu Immortal Lord, I didn't hide it from her on purpose. I just love her too much. I was afraid that she wouldn't be able to accept the fact that I am a ghost. I originally planned to complete the wedding and form a contract between heaven and earth, and then tell her the truth. When Zhao Yanchu said this, his voice was choked up. It can be seen that the memories of his past life are too tragic. As long as he is reminded of those things, he will fall into the pain of despair. Horse bandits galloping over, waving long knives, bright red blood, bodies lying on the ground. That scene appeared repeatedly in front of his eyes, and he couldn't get rid of it. He was tied up, and he exuded a sense of dejection, despair, and helplessness. That look aroused strong distress among the viewers in the live broadcast room. This is too miserable. Horse bandits deserve to die, and all bandits and robbers in the world deserve to die. What's wrong with him? He just loves it so much. Why does God torture a couple like this? Childhood and childhood sweethearts, but both died on the day they got married. This is simply more tragic than the family feud that someone just imagined. They can obviously be together. Thinking about it from another perspective, double death can be considered right? Mo Shangxiao was obviously moved by this story. Just imagine, a gentle, infatuated, determined, and strong man can do this for a woman. Who cannot be moved? Especially, this woman is still herself. For Qin Xiao, what she needs is a husband who loves her deeply. Zhao Yanchu has always been perfect. If he hadn't always stared at Qin Xiao in the middle of the night and frightened her, she probably wouldn't have had the idea of escape. But now, after listening to Zhao Yanchu's words, all those unreasonable actions have been explained. He loves her so much. This love is the joy between two people when they were young, the commitment of two hearts in adulthood, the regret of not completing the wedding in the previous life, and the hope of continuing in this life. This love transcends time, space, and life and death. It is heavy, so heavy that it is heartbreaking. Qin Xiao couldn't help but take a few steps forward. With tears in her beautiful eyes, she looked at Zhao Yanshu and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know you had suffered so much for me. What happened in the previous life was the fault of the horse bandits. I don't blame you. You have been trapped in this past for 300 years, but I don't know it. I still want to find a metaphysician to deal with you. It's really terrible. Sorry." At this moment, Qin Xiao even had a thought in her heart. So what if he is a ghost? 300 years have passed since his love for her could not be erased. What else could she ask for? For a family like her, one is destined to have no autonomy in marriage. If one enjoys the dividends brought by the family, one must always be prepared to sacrifice for the family. Meeting a reasonable partner in marriage is already the best outcome. But she was even luckier. She met an infatuated lover who had been waiting for her for 300 years. He just liked to stare at her in the middle of the night. It was not an unforgivable mistake, was it? Qin Xiao's heart gradually tilted towards Zhao Yanshu in this kind of self-persuasion. "Immortal King Zhu, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the truth, so I asked you to come here rashly. Let's just forget about it. I have watched your previous live broadcast and know that you are a reasonable metaphysician. Yanshu did no harm to anyone. He just wants to find me and marry me as long as I don't pursue it myself. Can you not hurt him? Don't worry, I understand your rules, and I will pay you the other price." As Qin Xiao finished speaking, Zhao Yanshu looked at Pei Anzu with a pleading look, waiting for her to nod in agreement. The audience in the live broadcast room has already cheered. "That's great. In this life and now in this life, we will continue our relationship again. I believe in love again. Ah. May I ask which direction can I kowtow to help me meet a man like Zhao Yanshu? I have been single since my birth. Can I have such a relationship before menopause? Together. Together. King Zhu, immortal lord, let him go and let them be together. Don't make me kneel down and beg you." Zhao Yanshu couldn't see what the audience in the live broadcast room was saying, but he could see that Qin Xiao had been completely captured by him, so he added the final fire. "King Zhu, immortal lord, in order to find Xiao's reincarnation, I have used too many secret and forbidden techniques. There is no afterlife for a ghost like me. Either continue to practice, attain enlightenment in a ghost body, and live as long as heaven and earth, or one soul will fly away and disappear between heaven and earth. I only have this life, so just be kind and let me spend the rest of my life with Xiao. After she has passed 100 years, I am willing to kill myself in front of you." He is willing to spend the rest of his long life in exchange for spending this life with Qin Xiao. End of this chapter. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 82. Zhao Yanshu's appearance of being willing to die for love moved many people. Everyone is waiting for Pei Anzu to express his position. The viewers in the live broadcast room were pleading with each other, and Qin Xiao's eyes were sincere in front of them. If it were anyone else, she might have really been deceived, but Pei Anzu is not an ordinary person. No matter how twists and turns Zhao Yanshu's story is, she only has 4 words. "You are lying." As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Pei Anzu, without waiting for Zhao Yanshu to retort, tightened his fingers again, forcing Zhao Yanshu to kneel on the ground, sweating in pain. She looked at the other person condescendingly and mocked. "You really don't shed tears until you see the coffin, and you want to fool me with the misfortune, you're just dreaming. I forgot to tell you that I am not only proficient in drawing talismans, but I am also proficient in physiognomy. It is true that you and Qin Xiao had a marriage in the previous life, But wasn't this marriage cut off by your own hands? Since you have already severed this marriage with your own hands and forced her to die innocently and prematurely, why are you pretending to be in love here? Zhao Yanchu, I've already given you a chance. After finishing his words, Pei Anzu formed a seal with his hands again, with the palms of his two hands moving forward and back, his thumbs touching each other, and turning over in front of his chest. The next second, the red thread that bound Zhao Yanchu burst out with light. Blooming bright flowers, grand and eye-catching, even carrying a powerful pressure that makes people unable to look directly and can't help but bow their heads. A scream rang out from Zhao Yanchu's mouth. Seeing him in such pain, Qin Xiao couldn't help but burst into tears. She even couldn't help but speak and plead with Pei Anzu. King Zhu, immortal lord, I have already forgiven him. I, the culprit of my suffering, don't hold him accountable, so why do you have to pursue him so closely? Please let him go. Even the audience in the live broadcast room felt that Pei Anzu was too cruel. I admit that King Zufari has punished evil and promoted good in her previous live broadcasts, which made me think she is a good person, but this time she went too far. No way, right? Isn't it possible that in this day and age, there are still people who believe that people who are not of my race must have different minds? Human beings have good people and bad people, but are there no good ghosts? I have been following the live broadcast since the first live broadcast and found that King Zufari has an extreme attitude towards ghosts. No matter what kind of ghost she is, she will always give people a beating. It is so cruel. What's wrong with Zhao Yanchu? He just loves Qin Xiao so much. He doesn't even want the chance to be reincarnated, just to stay together for the rest of his life. Is this not allowed? If it doesn't work, King Zhu, immortal lord, can put a forbidden spell on Zhao Yanchu so that he can't do bad things. Wouldn't that be enough? Everyone is subjective. They are also affected by preconceptions and believe that the first thing they hear is the truth, so they tend to become irritable and angry when things don't develop as they expected. This is how many of these idiots on the internet come about. Pei Anzu didn't have time to watch the barrage in the live broadcast room, and she didn't care what these people said. After watching so many of her live broadcasts, if she hasn't learned to shut up before seeing the truth clearly, then it would be in vain for her to spend so much time in the past few times. Guide with all your heart. Such a trend cannot be overcome by her overnight. Zhao Yanchu was so miserable that he no longer tried to beg Pei Anzu to forgive him. Instead, he looked at Qin Xiao with an affectionate and desperate look and said, "Xiao, I'm sorry that I have to reveal the truth in front of you in this way. It's really too cruel for you. All the married life I imagined related to you, all the good days related to you I expected and longed for, may not be possible. Don't blame King Zufari Lord, she is a member of Suanmen. It is her responsibility to exorcise evil spirits and catch ghosts. If you want to blame us, you can only blame us for being destined to be different. I can no longer accompany you." Due to the pain in his body, Zhao Yanchu spoke intermittently and with a bit of sobs, vividly portraying the image of a man who was ready to die but could not let go of his sweetheart. Sure enough, when Qin Xiao heard these words, love came to her mind and she rushed forward, opened her arms to block Zhao Yanchu, and faced Pei Anzu. "King Zhu, immortal lord, if you want to kill me, please kill me too. It's not easy for me to meet someone who is devoted to me. If he dies, I won't be alive either, I will die with him." Pei Anzu immediately laughed in anger. In her 2 lifetimes, she has traveled through Suanmen, and this is the first time she has seen such a green tea ghost. It's really a knife to pull the butt. It opened my eyes. And this Qin Xiao is also the most brainless person she has ever met. Don't you know that there is a word in the world called a lot of nonsense? How can you believe everything a ghost says? Just after hearing Zhao Yanchu tell a story about his past life and confessing his feelings, she threw away her armor and surrendered. From the initial fear and resistance to him, to a life and death commitment? Pei Anzu said coldly. "Before you choose to live and die with him, you'd better look back and see what kind of virtue this man you are protecting, the man who keeps saying he loves you, is like. Hearing this, Qin Xiao subconsciously turned around. The mini camera on Pei Anzu's collar also captured what Qin Xiao saw. Zhao Yanchu was curled up on the ground in pain. He closed his eyes tightly, and his ghost body had become fragile and transparent, as if he would be gone in the next second. But an emerald green bead came out of his heart. Don't want. Zhao Yanchu seemed to feel something, and panicked to grab the bead, but missed it, and watched the bead floating in the air. The next second, a translucent ghost floated out from inside. She was a young-looking girl, about 17 or 18 years old. She wore her hair in an ancient bun and wore a complicated double-breasted half-sleeved skirt. The emerald green color was exactly the same as the beads. Brother Yanchu, as soon as the girl appeared, she saw Zhao Yanchu lying on the ground and rushed over to help him up. But she never thought that the red lines on his body were so strong that they directly burned her palms. Black energy came out of her palms, making her ghost body more transparent. Stay away from me, I have that stinky Taoist priest's talisman array on me. Zhao Yanchu endured the pain and said to the woman in green. But you. Good boy, I'm fine. I've been the ghost king for 300 years. She's a young Taoist priest, so she can't do anything to me. If you go back to the beads, if you've been out for too long, your soul won't be able to be nourished, Zhao Yanchu said to her. His tone was soft, as if he was afraid of scaring her. It was a kind of concern that came from the heart. Compared with his attitude towards the woman in green, what he said to Qin Xiao before seemed like a show. Love can sometimes be faked. No matter how similar you may pretend to be, people will notice the difference when you meet someone you truly love. Nothing but the sincerity. Everyone was stunned by this sudden reversal. Qin Xiao looked at Zhao Yanchu and then at the woman in green, a little unbelievable. Yanchu, who is she? The woman in green seemed to have noticed Qin Xiao's presence and said in surprise. Sister Xiao. Qin Xiao's name did not change after reincarnation. She could call Qin Xiao's name at once, so she must be an old friend from her previous life. Pei Anzu's eyes swept across the three people, and with a wave of his hand, another talisman hit the woman in green, making her unable to return to the beads, and then said. Everyone is alive. Come, let's sort out all the nonsense grievances and grudges you have in your past and present lives. I would like to know, Zhao Yanchu, where did you get the face? It's not enough to trick Qin Xiao once, but you want to hurt her a second time. Even if Qin Xiao was obsessed with love, the moment she saw the woman in green, she knew that things were not as simple as she thought. She may have been deceived by Zhao Yanchu. Thinking of this, she took a few steps back and sat slumped on the sofa. She clenched her hands and dug her nails deeply into her palms. The audience in the live broadcast room was silent for a long time before someone broke the embarrassment. So, I just wrongly blamed King Zhu, Immortal Lord? I'm going to slap myself twice now. I just criticized King Zhu, Immortal Lord, too loudly. I'm sorry, I'm guilty. I want to eat melon right now. What's going on? Damn it, isn't this better than the TV series? The live broadcast room of King Zhuxianjun is really a treasure. I heard that someone is performing a ghostly affair here? Is it this live broadcast room? What is the anchor doing? Why is there no sound? Are you the new audience upstairs? I saw a clip on Weibo. There was a man who said he was a ghost king and had been looking for his wife from his previous life for 300 years just to renew their relationship. New brothers and sisters, look for King Zhuxianjun's live broadcast room and you won't lose money if you invest in it. In Pei Anzu's live broadcast room, there is a joke porter who is dedicated to transporting high-energy scenes. This person has been there since her first live broadcast and has been following her until now. In the past, he posted a video of Pei Anzu scolding his netizens, which became very popular for a while. Later, he edited a video of Pei Anzu beating up a grudge, which also attracted a large number of people to watch. This time he followed the same example and edited the section where Zhao Yanshi told the story of the past and present life, and added it with very attractive text, which attracted a large number of viewers. New viewers came here for the sadomasochism of past and present lives, and kept urging on the barrage. Pei Anzu took out his mobile phone and took a look and found that the number of fans watching had reached a new level, which meant that there were more potential customer groups. Her mood that was so bad caused by Zhao Yanshi became a little better. "Aren't you telling the truth?" Pei Anzu looked at Zhao Yanshi and pointed at the woman in green. "You have done so much, all for her, right?" Zhao Yanshi quickly said. "It's none of her business. She doesn't know anything. If you want to kill me, come at me alone." "Tisk, tisk, it's really a love affair, but it's a pity that it's not for you." Pei Anzu shrugged at Qin Xiao again, with an expression that he had seen through. Qin Xiao felt that her heart had been stabbed several times and was bleeding. "Brother Yanshu, sister Xiao, what is going on?" The woman in green had no idea about the current situation. Pei Anzu ignored her and only said to Zhao Yanshu, "If you are willing to cooperate with me, explain the whole matter clearly, and solve the evil destiny-changing magic in Qin Xiao, maybe I won't be able to help her if I am happy." The she refers to the woman in green. Zhao Yanshu worked hard and did so much, all for her. Now after hearing what Pei Anzu said, he suddenly raised his head and his eyes suddenly lit up. "Can you really help her?" Pei Anzu said nothing, only glanced at him lightly. But this one glance is enough. Zhao Yanshu understood that this was the strong man's confidence in his own strength. This green bamboo immortal lord, although young, has unfathomable strength. With a wave of her hand, she can tear apart a 300-year-old ghost king. With a single talisman, she can trap him with no way to escape. He should believe that she has this ability. Thinking of this, Zhao Yanshu made a decision and spoke slowly. "What I said before was not entirely a lie. The past life is true, the present life is true, the horse bandits are true. It is true that Xiao Yu died on the day we got married, and it is even more true that I have been looking for her for 300 years. It's just that all this is not for Xiao, but for Linglan. Lily of the Valley is the woman in green." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 83. This is indeed a love story. In a love story, there needs to be a strong and affectionate male protagonist, an innocent and charming heroine, and a female supporting role who is outstanding in all aspects but is not loved by the male protagonist. These roles correspond to Zhao Yanshu, Ling Lan, and Qin Xiao. Zhao Yanshu's previous account was half true and half false, but the real process was actually like this. Zhao Yanshu is the son of a salt merchant, and Qin Xiao is the daughter of Buzz Wang. The two families are family friends and have always had a good relationship, so the parents of the two families discussed and decided to marry their two children. It can be said that Zhao Yanshu and Qin Xiao are righteous childhood sweethearts, and they are well matched. But at that time, classes were clearly defined, including scholars, peasants, and merchants. Although the merchants had money, if they really wanted to cross the class, they still had to take the imperial examination and become an official. So, Zhao Yanshu planned to go out to study. He promised both families that when he got the honors, he would marry Qin Xiao in a glamorous manner. The Qin family and the Zhao family both agreed. Zhao Yanshu left home to study, and Qin Xiao waited at home for 5 years. Qin Xiao grew up from a young girl to 18 years old. In that era when women had to get married after their hair age, 18 years old was already considered an old girl. But she resisted the rumors from the outside world, kept her promise to Zhao Yanshu, and single-handedly supported the business of the Qin and Zhao families. The purpose is to allow Zhao Yanqi to study with peace of mind and relieve him from worries. But who would have thought that green plum blossoms are no match for those falling from the sky? Zhao Yanqi met the love of his life, Linglan, when he was studying abroad. Suzuran was born as a peasant girl with a poor family and a miserable life experience. She has parents who favor boys over girls, a brother who likes gambling, a mean sister-in-law, and a naughty younger brother. The whole family treated Lily of the Valley like an animal, as if they wanted to out every drop of blood from her body. Forced her to the point where she could hardly survive. Just when Linglan was about to commit suicide, she met Zhao Yanqi, who was passing by. The weak girl, the pitiful life experience, and the hot tears suddenly aroused the man's protective desire. Maybe it was love at first sight, maybe it was lust. In short, Zhao Yanqi fell in love with Linglan and made a lifelong promise to her. He never even thought that he had a fiancée waiting at home. Later, Zhao Yanqi took Linglan back to his hometown. He explained to his parents that he wanted to cancel the marriage to the Qin family and marry Linglan as his wife. The news spread, and the rumor that the Qin family's daughter was disliked spread in the town. Since she was still unmarried and her engagement was broken off, Qin Xiao's years of waiting became a joke. Gossip and rumors almost made her unable to survive. Fortunately, the Zhao family's parents are sensible. They know Qin Xiao's infatuation for waiting for their son for so many years. On the other hand, they also have a disdain for Linglan. They always believe that it is better to get married if they are well matched. So, they gave Zhao Yanqi two choices. Either, he should take Linglan and get out of the Zhao family and start his own family. From now on, the Zhao family's property will have nothing to do with him, and the Zhao family will raise other stepchildren to inherit the family property and fulfill the engagement with the Qin family. Or, marry Qin Xiao as your wife and live a good life. After Qin Xiao gives birth to a legitimate son and her status is stable, you can then decide whether to take Linglan as your concubine or not. Zhao Yanqi couldn't afford to leave his fortune behind, so he chose the second option. But he believed from the bottom of his heart that Qin Xiao was forcing all of this. If she hadn't insisted on marrying him, her parents would never have used such an extreme method. He vented all his malice on Qin Xiao, even thinking, it would be great if Qin Xiao did not exist. This way he doesn't have to fulfill the engagement, lose the inheritance rights to his vast wealth, and he doesn't have to be separated from his beloved Linglan. So, a vicious plan took shape in his mind. On the eve of his wedding, he left the city alone, found the horse bandits who were robbing homes in the mountains, and negotiated a deal with them. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 84. There is a local custom for newlyweds that requires the bride and groom to pay homage to the moon god. The groom will set off from his home at noon and go to the bride's home to welcome the bride. Then he will take the wedding procession and the sedan chair out of the city, and both will worship at Yuelao temple, praying to Yuelao to bless the couple's love and grow old together. After worshipping Yuelao, the wedding team will return to the city and go to the groom's home to prepare for the ceremony. Weddings in ancient times were also called dusk ceremonies, which meant that the worship ceremony was held at dusk. The groom set off at noon, walked around outside the city and came back, arriving home at just the right time. What the group of horse bandits needed to do was to kidnap Qin Xiao when the sedan chair was leaving the city. The purpose is to ruin this marriage. Zhao Yanqi's request to the horse bandits was that after they kidnapped Qin Xiao, whether they stayed to play with her or killed her, they should not let her appear in the city. At that time, a woman's reputation was of paramount importance. As long as the news that Qin Xiao was kidnapped by horse bandits reaches the Qin family, then the marriage will be considered a waste. Both the Qin and Zhao families are respectable people. Guests have been invited and the banquet has been prepared. If word spread that something happened to the Qin family's daughter and she lost her bride, Wouldn't it mean that the two families would be unable to hold their heads high in Shizhu? Zhao Yinshu thought very well. When Qin Xiao is taken away by the horse bandits, he will propose to let Linglan marry on his behalf. On the surface, Linglan went to marry him as Qin Xiao, blocking the guests and the people of Shizhu from talking, and preserving Qin Xiao's reputation. Privately, send people to the mountains outside the city to suppress the bandits, rescue Qin Xiao, and cover up the matter. By then, both families will be able to live up to their reputation. But this was all just Zhao Yinshu's imagination. Things did not happen according to his preset trajectory, but an accident occurred. Because, in this love story, there is also a heroine, Suzuran. Suzuran is a heroine who has a miserable life experience but is still kind and strong. She is not a green tea and white lotus flower, and she has never thought about seeking wealth. At first I followed Zhao Yinshu, but I didn't know that he was engaged, thinking that I was going to meet my love. Later she returned to Shizhu. She heard that Zhao Yinshu had a fiancé, and that this fiancé had been waiting for him for 5 years and supported 2 businesses for him. She had the intention of quitting. Linglan once secretly inquired about Qin Xiao. In her eyes, Qin Xiao is dignified, with extraordinary ability and outstanding methods. He can manage the business in an orderly manner and can manage so many servants without making mistakes. Qin Xiao is very kind. Even though she has been rumored for so many years, she still has a good heart and has helped refugees privately. She has also helped some beggars in the Chenghuang temple. In certain years when the weather was bad and the harvests were bad, her kindness saved countless lives and kept the hope of living for countless people. More importantly, Qin Xiao is very sensible. Even if she knew that Zhao Yinshu came back with Linglan and wanted to cancel her marriage and make her lose face, she never caused any trouble for Linglan. Suzuran felt that she should not ruin the marriage of a good girl. As long as she leaves, Zhao Yinshu will stop thinking about her and live a good life with Qin Xiao. From then on, they will be in love with each other for a lifetime. So, she prepared to leave Shizhu secretly. But Zhao Yinshu usually watched her very closely, and she had no chance to leave alone. It was not until the day when the two families got married that she found the opportunity. She found a way to dress up as a maid, got into the wedding procession, and followed her out of the city. Linglan thought very well. After leaving the city and the bride and groom stopped at Yuelao temple, she would leave quietly. By then, the mountains would be high and the water would be far away, so Zhao Yinshu would naturally forget about her. Perhaps something unexpected happened and the horse bandits came. More than a dozen fierce horse bandits surrounded the wedding party and robbed Qin Xiao, as well as part of the gold, silver, jewelry, and other dowry. The wedding team led by Zhao Yinshu was no match for the horse bandits, and they were all knocked to the ground. Linglan had already packed her bags, avoided the crowds, and hid in the inaccessible mountains, but when she looked up, she saw the horse bandits tying up Qin Xiao and galloping past. She didn't think about anything at the time, except that she couldn't let Qin Xiao be taken away. So she rushed out directly. But she was alone and didn't know martial arts, how could she be a match for those horse bandits? Soon, she too was caught. The horse bandits saw her wearing the clothes of a little maid and thought she was Qin Xiao's dowry maid, so they decided to take the master and servant back to the village and reward them to the brothers. Zhao Yinshu spent a lot of money to seal the entrance of the welcoming team, returned to the city as if nothing had happened, met with the parents of both families, and told them about the horse bandits. For the sake of Qin Xiao's reputation, the Qin family had no choice but to agree to his proposal to find someone to marry as a substitute, and at the same time privately sent people to negotiate with the horse bandits and rescue her. Zhao Yinshu was overjoyed. Just when he thought everything was going well, he realized that Lily of the Valley was also missing. After careful investigation, he found a little maid who had been knocked unconscious in the woodshed, and then deduced that Linglan had taken the identity of the little maid and sneaked out of the city. Zhao Yunchu's expression suddenly changed. If Suzuran went out of the city with the wedding party, where would she go? Yelao Temple. What will she encounter if she leaves Yelao Temple? Horse bandit. After figuring this out, Zhao Yunchu went crazy at that time. The face of the two families and Qin Xiao's reputation are not as important as Linglan. As long as he thinks that Linglan might fall into the hands of the horse bandits, he will go crazy with anger. He immediately stopped getting married and ignored the house full of guests. He took the Zhao family's 200 servants and the hired young and mature workers and went up the mountain in a mighty manner. He is going to find Lily of the Valley. It would be fine if Linglan didn't fall into the hands of the horse bandits, but if Linglan got into the den of horse bandits, then he would go to suppress the bandits and rescue Linglan. But how can horse bandits be so easy to deal with? The opponent has a large number of people and occupies a commanding position. It is easy to defend and difficult to attack due to natural dangers. Moreover, they are all powerful, tall, and fierce, and everyone has seen blood on their hands. Zhao Yunchu and his men were discovered before they even got close to Ma Bandit's village. What followed was a tug of war. While the fighting was raging outside the village, the two girls who were kidnapped in the village were also supporting each other and trying to save themselves. They didn't know that the root of all this was Zhao Yunchu's selfishness. But they knew they had to go back alive. These two girls. Qin Xiao was born into a wealthy family. He has seen the world, done business, and dealt with all kinds of people. He is well versed in the temptation of interests and is very stable. Suzilin was born in a poor peasant family. She has been responsible for supporting her family since she was a child. She knows many plants and herbs and has many life skills. She never starves to death. They complement each other exactly, supporting each other and waiting for rescue. When they learned that Zhao Yunchu had brought people to suppress the bandits, they thought they were saved. Unexpectedly, the leader of the horse bandit hated Zhao Yunchu for not keeping his word, and he had clearly agreed on the deal, but then regretted it at the end. In a fit of anger, he directly raised the knife and stabbed the two girls to the core. As long as there are gold and silver treasures, what is a woman? In the eyes of the horse bandits, they are worse than objects. So, killing these two girls will not cost them anything. So, what Zhao Yunchu got was the corpses of two girls, one was his fiancée who was about to marry him, and the other was the woman he loved most in his life. Two such good girls, their beauty and fate are ruined just because of his selfishness. Zhao Yunchu knew that he could not defeat the horse bandits, and since Linglan was dead, there was no need to continue fighting against the horse bandits, so he went back with the two corpses. Happiness turns into mourning, red silk turns into white cloth. The story that the Qin family's daughter was kidnapped by horse bandits on the day of her wedding and died in death was widely circulated, and everyone said that her fate was bad. But if it wasn't for Zhao Yunchu, how could she have suffered a bad fate? She was born well, had a kind heart, and had meritorious deeds. How could she have a bad fate? The Qin family brought back their daughter's body, held a funeral for her with grief, and made up their mind to sever ties with the Zhao family. Although they knew that the Zhao family could not be blamed for this incident, they still couldn't help but express their anger. The two families gradually stopped contacting each other. Zhao Yunchu, on the other hand, was unwilling to admit that he had killed Ling Lan, let alone accept the fact that Ling Lan was dead. He embarked on a crooked path. When he was studying abroad, he heard many legends about ghosts and evil spirits. He knows that there is a kind of master in this world who can communicate with yin and yang and see ghosts. He wants to call back Linglan's soul and bring her back to life. For several years since then, he has been looking for an expert who can help him realize his wish. 3 years later, he finally found it. That is an evil way. What is evil? He does not respect cause and effect, does not look at good and evil, does not talk about reasons, and only seeks profit. He uses the skills he has learned to make a lot of money. No matter whether he is a good person or a bad person, he will help whoever gives him more money. It happened that he had this ability, and Zhao Yanshu happened to be rich. The two hit it off and started a soul summoning ceremony. Linglan and Qin Xiao died on the same day and arrived in the underworld on the same day. But Qin Xiao did too many good things during her lifetime, and with her merits and virtues, and the faith given to her by the people she helped, she was able to reincarnate quickly. Suzuran doesn't have this chance. She needs to wait for the opportunity to be reincarnated in the underworld. At this point, Zhao Yanshu and Xie Dao summoned her soul back to the underworld. After 3 years, she saw Zhao Yanshu again. Linglan still doesn't know about the deal between Zhao Yanshu and the horse bandit. When she reunited with Zhao Yanshu and saw him traveling all over the country for her, seeing him tossing and turning after her death and being unable to sleep at night, and seeing how deeply he loved her, she suddenly felt unbearable. She thought, since Qin Xiao has been reincarnated, and she has become a ghost, staying with Zhao Yanshu in this way should not be considered as ruining other people's marriages, right? Hence, she sought evil ways and wanted to stay in the earth. That evil said, "There is no way, it just depends on what price you can pay." When Zhao Yanshu heard that there was still a way to stay together with Linglan, he immediately patted his chest and promised, "I am willing to pay any price, as long as it allows me and Xiuzulai to be together." For the sake of money, Xie Dao agreed. He said, "Lan Suzu is a ghost who has been registered in the underworld. She stays in the world at will. If she is discovered by the underworld, she will have to go to the 18th level of and suffer severe punishment. Unless someone is willing to use his own ghostly spirit to cover up her ghostly spirit. Mr. Zhao, if you are willing to give up this life, I can help you become a ghost, escape the pursuit of the underworld, and let the two of you live freely as a ghost couple." How could Zhao Yanshu not agree? After all, the evil way said that it only turned him into a ghost, but did not completely kill him. After he turned into a ghost, his soul was immortal. Wouldn't he be able to live with Suzulan for a long time? So, the evil ways started to get busy. He spent a lot of time, collected a lot of blood from pigs, cattle, and sheep, drew a formation that others could not understand, then dug a hole in the middle of the formation and buried Zhao Yanshu in it. After being buried for 77 and 49 days, Zhao Yanshu died under the guidance of the formation. His soul left his body and turned into a ghost. This is not over yet. In order to hide Lily of the Valley's aura, she needs an object to live in. So, the evil spirit refined Zhao Yanshu's body and turned it into a green bead, which became the house where Linglan lived. Since the beads were refined from Zhao Yanshu's corpse and their aura came from the same source as him, they could easily blend into his ghost body. In this way, the beads covered Linglan's ghostly aura, and Zhao Yanshu's ghost body covered the bead's aura. With double insurance, Linglan successfully avoided the pursuit of ghosts from the underworld. At this point, it's still not over yet. Xie Dao also said, "Newly deceased ghosts are too weak. When you meet slightly more powerful ghosts, you can only become their supplement and food. If you really want to stay with your beloved and protect her forever in this world, you need to be strong. I have a book of ghost cultivation techniques here that will allow you to quickly improve your cultivation and become a ghost king in less time than other ghosts. At the same time, there is another benefit to practicing this technique. As long as Suzulan stays in the bead in your heart, the stronger your cultivation is, the more you can nourish her soul, so that she does not have to suffer the hardships of cultivation. I can also improve my cultivation just like you. But this book is not cheap. Having turned into a ghost, how could he not become stronger? Good things like ghost cultivation techniques are exactly what Zhao Yanshu needs. As for money, he has become a ghost. What does the Zhao family's money have to do with him? He didn't need it anyway, so he spent a lot of money to buy this technique from evil sources. For the next 300 years, Zhao Yinshu continued to practice according to the ghost cultivation method. As Xie Dao said, his cultivation was indeed rapid. It took other ghosts 300 years to become a ghost general, but he became a ghost king in one fell swoop. Suzuran lives in the beat in his ghost body and absorbs his cultivation. Although her growth rate was not as fast as his, in 300 years, without any causal human life on her hands, she was able to become a resentful ghost by relying on these cultivation skills. Zhao Yinshu and Linglan have lived happily together for 300 years. In the past 300 years, it's not like I haven't encountered ghosts. But Gaza didn't realize at all that he was hiding another ghost who had escaped from the underworld. Of course, there were also ghosts who wanted to capture him and take him to the underworld, but he escaped. In the world of heaven, the sky and the earth are vast, wouldn't it be good to be free and at ease? If he really goes to the underworld, not to mention the punishment of the 18 levels of hell, even if he is reincarnated, he and Suzuran may not meet again. Just when they thought that life would continue like this, an accident happened. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 85. Chapter 85 This Life. 20 years ago, Zhao Yinshu had already cultivated his physical body with the help of his ghost body. He was able to walk in the human world without fear of the sun and restrain his ghost energy, making him no different from ordinary people. As long as he doesn't meet a highly capable Taoist practitioner, he can disguise himself as a human and live a normal life in the world. However, living in the human world requires status and wealth. Zhao Yinshu fell in love with an ancient tomb. It was the tomb of a wealthy man more than 300 years ago. There were many valuable funerary objects in it. As long as he takes out the funerary objects and secretly sells them on the black market, he can make a lot of money and then find a way to buy himself an identity. With this thought in mind, he went to rob the tomb. I originally thought that he was a ghost, coming and going without a trace, and that he was a ghost king with great strength, so there would be no problems on this trip. But who knew that there was actually a very powerful formation in the rich man's graveyard? The entire cemetery was built according to the yin-yang bagua theory, and a good feng shui location was chosen. In addition to the tomb owner and a bunch of funerary objects, there were also talismans posted everywhere. The talismans follow certain rules and form a talisman array. 300 years ago, Suanmen had not yet declined. It was divided into different sects such as Quanzhen, Genji, Mission, and Qingyun. Hundreds of flowers bloomed, and the talismans they drew were naturally extremely powerful. This talisman array is designed to guard against tomb robbers, whether they are humans or ghosts. If the intruder is a human, the talisman formation will capture the vitality of the human being and automatically transform into a missing formation, which will trap the intruder in the formation. If he cannot break out of the formation, he will be trapped inside for the rest of his life. If a ghost comes, the talisman array will capture the ghost energy and transform it into a soul-binding array, trapping the ghost inside, consuming the ghost energy and strength day after day until the soul is gone. Before entering the tomb, Zhao Yinshu released the lily of the valley from the beads. Because they were going to a cemetery with excellent feng shui and strong yin energy, which was very helpful for the lily of the valley to nourish the soul and improve cultivation. So, it was two ghosts who entered the tomb. Linglan took the first step and accidentally fell into the formation. She was trapped inside and could not get out. Zhao Yinshu was a step slower and did not reach the range of the formation, so he escaped. The power of the soul-binding array cannot be underestimated. Suzuran only stayed inside for a short while, and then she felt that the power of the entire ghost body was slowly draining away. Although the speed was not fast, it was uncomfortable. It is like a living person watching his own blood flowing all over the ground. Zhao Yinshu wanted to save Linglan, but he could only break the formation from the outside. He used all he had learned over the past 300 years and spent 3 full days before he managed to tear a hole in the formation. The lily of the valley came out, but it became extremely weak and could only be contained in the beads and could not come out. Zhao Yinshu temporarily abandoned the cemetery. He went to the black market, found some capable tomb robbers, promised huge profits, and went back with a group of people to start robbing the tomb for the second time. Fortunately, he is not particularly unlucky. Among the group of tomb robbers, some of them had ancestors from Suanmen and left behind an amulet. Using the cover of this amulet, they emptied the grave goods and divided them among them. After selling the funerary objects, Zhao Yinshu had money and asked someone to help him get an identity. A person from the Dragon Kingdom who has returned from overseas. He declared that his ancestors had moved their family abroad due to war. Now that he has grown up, he hopes to return to the Dragon Kingdom and recognize his ancestors. 20 years ago, the country's household registration system was not very complete, and there was no comprehensive internet coverage. It was easier to make fraud, so he did not reveal his secret. After obtaining his identity, Zhao Yinshu used the remaining money to develop his own power in the country. When he was a human being, he abandoned his body and was willing to be a ghost in order to stay with Switzerland forever. However, after being a ghost for a long time and seeing the affluent life in the new era, he missed the days of being a human being again. He did all this so that he could live in this world as a human being. It's a pity that God did not fulfill people's wishes. Suzerain was too seriously injured in the rich man's graveyard. The soul body that was torn apart by the formation healed very slowly. Even with the help of Zhao Yinshu, the Ghost King, she still showed vague signs of collapse. Zhao Yinshu has been trying to think of ways to stabilize Linglan's soul over the years, but to no avail. Finally, he found out about a forbidden technique, seizing the body. Actually, seizing a body and reviving a body as people think are two different concepts. The basis of reviving a corpse is the corpse, which must be that the owner of the body has died, leaving a body behind, and then the external soul takes over the body and comes to life again. It must require that the original owner of the body has just died, the body still has a breath of life, and the new soul is incomparably compatible with the body in order to be successful. For example, Pei Anzu came from another world and borrowed a corpse to resurrect his soul into the original owner. But seizing the house is different. The basis of seizing a body is seize, which means to fight, that is, another soul must forcibly invade the body while the soul of the original owner of the body is still alive. The invading soul is in that body, suppressing and wearing away the original soul, until all the original soul overflows and becomes the nourishment of the new soul. It is not necessary to consider whether the soul and the body are in harmony with each other. As long as the original soul becomes weaker and weaker, the new invading soul will naturally slowly merge with the body until it is completely integrated. After Zhao Yinshu found the forbidden technique of seizing the body, he began to select the body of seizing the body. At an accidental business gathering, he saw Qin Xiao, the daughter of the Qin family. Her face was exactly the same as in her previous life, and her name was exactly the same, which moved his thoughts. In Zhao Yinshu's heart, Qin Xiao was the culprit who hindered him and Linglan from being together in his previous life. If Qin Xiao hadn't insisted on marrying him, he wouldn't have calculated so much for Linglan, until he finally lost her life in vain. So, Qin Xiao owes him. In this case, the debts that were not repaid in the previous life should be repaid in this life. Zhao Yinshu asked someone to inquire about Qin Xiao's information, and when he learned that she was from a wealthy family and had a noble status, he felt that such a life experience would be a good exchange for Linglan. Linglan has never felt the love of her family, nor has she lived a good life. If she takes over Qin Xiao's body, she can replace him and become the daughter of the Qin family. The opportunity came soon. The Qin family wanted to choose a marriage partner for Qin Xiao. Therefore, Zhao Yunxi relied on the classical literature such as the 4 books and 5 classics that he had read before, as well as the knowledge and insights gained in the past 300 years, to apply for a job at the university and suddenly became a university lecturer. He returned from overseas with a rich fortune, a university job, a scholarly family, and no father or mother. This is undoubtedly a very suitable marriage partner for the Qin family, which can not only expand assets and connections, but also save the daughter from having to deal with her parents-in-law. So, Zhao Yunxu and Qin Xiao went on a blind date. Even if a person is reincarnated, what he likes deep in his soul will not change, so Zhao Yunxu knows what kind of man Qin Xiao likes. Step by step, he weaved a huge net and caught Qin Xiao in it. Qin Xiao really had a good impression of him, and the Qin family also recognized him as their future son-in-law. He just showed his gentleness and meticulousness to Qin Xiao, and completely captured the hearts of the family. But things did not go so smoothly. After Zhao Yunxu and Qin Xiao got together, he began to prepare for Linglan to seize her body. After studying her horoscope, he discovered that she was actually expected to die young. At the age of 23, there will be a death disaster. The catastrophe of certain death is hard to overcome. But how is this possible? Qin Xiao's body was the container he prepared for Linglan. He spent so much effort to get close to her, how could he let her die? What's more, Qin Xiao still has to repay the debt for killing Linglan in his previous life. So, Zhao Yunxu used the forbidden technique again to change Qin Xiao's fate against the will of heaven. As I have said a long time ago, there is a price to pay for changing one's destiny against nature. Zhao Yunxu played the game of white wolf with empty gloves. At most, he had some cultivation, but the method of extending his life really consumes Qin Xiao's own blessings and merits. In other words, Qin Xiao's blessings and merits could have enabled her to have a good pregnancy in her next life, which would be smooth and safe. This is the opportunity she has accumulated for doing good in her 2 lives, and it is also the compensation from heaven for her 2 premature deaths. But with Zhao Yunxu doing this, she could live for a few more years in this life, but her blessings and merits have long been exhausted. She may be reincarnated in the next life, and she may have a bad fate and bad luck. Not only that, even if she lived a few more years in her life, she would not get any benefits. Because her body is about to be taken over by Lily of the Valley and become a container to nourish Lily of the Valley so that her soul will not collapse. By the time Qin Xiao's original lifespan was about to run out and she could no longer hold on, Zhao Yunxu had probably found the next suitable container for Linglan to take over. Zhao Yunxu had already planned it. Prolonged Qin Xiao's life, married Qin Xiao, and suppressed her with Pua after the marriage, tortured her spirit and soul, and made her fragile. With his pretense of being a good man before marriage, Qin Xiao's parents would not suspect anything. When he is ready, let Linglan enter Qin Xiao's body to seize the body. By that time, Qin Xiao's spirit and soul were so fragile that Linglan could suppress her with almost no effort. It's just that people's calculations are not as good as God's calculations. In order to achieve his goal, Zhao Yunxu resorted to any means and calculated 99 steps. He was just short of the last step, but he was defeated by a woman's intuition. He believed that Qin Xiao was already the prey in the palm of his hand and could not escape, so he did not deliberately restrain his ill will towards her. He always stared at Qin Xiao in the middle of the night, imagining how great it would be if Linglan woke up from this body and stayed with him in the human world. Qin Xiao sensed something was wrong, and on the day of her wedding, she entered Pei Anzu's live broadcast room and attracted a truly capable Taoist practitioner. Pei Anzu saw through Zhao Yunxu's ghost, saw through his disguise, exposed his scheming, and exposed all the evil he had done one by one in front of others. A feud that has been calculated for 300 years will finally come to an end today. The story of Zhao Yunxu is over. The twists and turns and the ups and downs of the plot shocked everyone in the live broadcast room and made them split apart. What kind of beast is Zhao Yunxu? Specifically not doing human affairs? That's not to say, at least he is sincere to Suzerain. I bother. Look at Miss Suzerain's expression, does she want to be so sincere? In her previous life, Linglan was willing to quit in order not to hurt Qin Xiao. Do you think she is willing to occupy someone else's body? It's so out of line. How dare he say that Qin Xiao owes him? What a dog man! If it weren't for him, how could these two beautiful young ladies have died so miserably? Fortunately, I was moved by the love between him and Qin Xiao in the past and present life. I am so obsessed with him that he is in love. Except for Linglan, everyone else's life is not my life. The audience in the live broadcast room used their own strengths and almost scolded Zhao Yanchu. Pei Anzu knew that it was time for him to take a stand, so he leaned on the sofa and smiled sarcastically at Zhao Yanchu. Tusk, Tusk, Qin Xiao is still miserable. In my previous life, you hindered my marriage, ruined my reputation, and lost my life in this life. You have exhausted all my merits, overdrawn my blessings, and become a vessel for your beloved. How can she be sorry for you? You didn't just catch someone picking up the wool, right? As soon as he said these words, he was clearly going to stand up for Qin Xiao. After all, in this triangular story, she is the only pure victim. It is really unjust, even more unjust than Doi who was snowing in June. As for Linglan, she is also innocent. She was dragged down by Zhao Yanchu, a selfish man. But after her death, she escaped from the underworld and enjoyed a happy life for 300 years. Moreover, she was able to obtain part of Zhao Yanchu's cultivation level without practicing. From this point of view, she can be regarded as a vested interest to a certain extent. After all, it's not certain how Zhao Yanchu's cultivation level came about. Given his character, Pei Anzu simply doesn't believe that he cultivated his skills step by step. What kind of good thing can the exercises given by evil ways be? Doesn't it have to be filled with human lives? So, in this matter, Pei Anzu felt most distressed about Qin Xiao. If she hadn't happened to appear, Qin Xiao might have been ruined for the rest of his life. Linglan also learned the truth about everything from Zhao Yanchu's story. For a while, she couldn't accept it. So, you were the one who instigated those horse bandits to kidnap Sister Xiao on their wedding day. Why are you such a person? I thought you had already figured it out when you agreed to marry Sister Xiao, but I didn't expect that you were just acting on the occasion. You keep saying you are doing it for me, where are you going to put me? Linglan is kind, otherwise she wouldn't have chased the bandit to save Qin Xiao. She is not willing to continue her life at the expense of other people's lives. Hearing about taking possession of a body or a container is extremely terrifying. It turns out that all the beautiful love in her opinion is based on Qin Xiao's pain. The veil of disguise was torn apart and it became bloody. Finally, Suzerain spoke. Zhao Yanchu, I don't want to seize my body, let alone stay in the human world. Maybe the collapse of my soul is God's punishment for me. I am willing to return to the underworld. No matter what the consequences are, I will bear them with all my strength. Whether I am punished or reincarnated as an animal, it will be regarded as my atonement to Sister Xiao. Qin Xiao slowly raised his head at this time, looked at Zhao Yanchu and Linglan, and asked quietly. Then what should I do? Is atonement enough? No matter how much punishment you suffer, can you get back the merits and blessings I have lost? Can you offset the blood debt of being killed early in my previous life? There is still this life. Now there are all the wedding guests outside. They are either business celebrities or famous ladies. All of them are well known. Now that there is no wedding, where do you want my Qin family's face to go? How can you let my parents do this? Raise your head in front of many people. Zhao Yanchu, you are so selfish and hateful. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 86. Qin Xiao's face was filled with despair. She hated Zhao Yanchu, hated Linglan, hated fate for making her the victim of this love, and even more hated the unfairness of nature and the lack of rewards for good people. Pei Anzu took in the expressions of the two ghosts in front of him, and he almost made a judgment in his heart. She took off the mini camera on her collar, took out the Neo God mask from her backpack and put it on, then took out her mobile phone and said to the audience in the live broadcast room, "I'm sorry, everyone, today's live broadcast will be temporarily suspended. Originally, it was planned to calculate 3 hexagrams for each live broadcast, but something happened suddenly today, and it was obviously too late for the 3 hexagrams. The remaining 2 hexagrams will be made up tomorrow. Now I have to deal with Zhao Yanchu's matter. We'll see you tomorrow." After saying this, Pei Anzu left the live broadcast room without waiting for the audience to stay. The audience was still reluctant to leave when the screen suddenly turned black, so everyone turned to Weibo and left a message under the King's Xianjun account registered by Pei Anzu. "I kind of want to know what I will do with Zhao Yanchu. Good deeds will be rewarded with good deeds, and evil deeds will be rewarded with evil deeds, right? King Zhu Immortal has mentioned merit in several live broadcasts. If Qin Xiao can't get the justice he deserves, then he doesn't need the merit. Why can't we see the follow-up treatment? The people upstairs are the new visitors this time, right?" King Zhu Immortal Lord once explained it once before, saying that there are barriers between the yin and yang realms, which basically do not interfere with each other. If this limit is exceeded, living people will be haunted by yin energy, which is not good for our health and lifespan. Correct answer on the 4th floor, so from that time on, even if King Zhu Fairy Lord ends the live broadcast early, we will not have any complaints. Of course, Pei Anzu doesn't know about these messages on Weibo for the time being. After she packed up the live broadcast equipment and masks, she asked the two ghosts to sit on the sofa opposite her, and said, "Now, let's talk about how to solve this matter." The two girls both looked forward to it. They were eager to find a way to have the best of both worlds. But Zhao Yanchu was different. He said directly, "First solve Linglan's problem, King Zhu Immortal Lord. You promised me that as long as I confess the matter clearly, you will help her." Pei Anzu tightened his fingers and gave me a strong grip. "You are not qualified to negotiate terms with me." Linglan looked at Zhao Yanchu's painful expression, and no longer felt the same distress as before. She took the initiative and said, "Let's help Sister Xiao get rid of the evil spell on her body first. It doesn't matter to me even if the ghost body collapses, I still deserve it." Pei Anzu nodded, looked at Qin Xiao, and said, "The dilemma you face now is 2 things. First, there is a magic spell in your body that defies heaven and prolongs your life. It is consuming your merits in this life and your blessings in the next life. If you want to resolve the evil spell, I can do it, but after it is resolved, you may immediately death. After all, your life should have ended 3 years ago. If you still want to live, it's okay if this technique doesn't dissolve it, but I can't guarantee how long you can live. The second is the wedding outside now. This is simple. I will put a forbidden spell on Zhao Yanchu to cooperate with you to hold the wedding and deal with the guests so that the Qin family will not lose face. After the wedding, you confess to your parents that these things can be solved. What do you think?" Qin Xiao was in business in her last life, and in this life she was a rich and powerful daughter. She was actually decisive at heart. After listening to what Jian Xiao said, she made a decision. "The wedding will be held as you wish. After all, the Qin family cannot afford to lose face. As for extending my life, I choose to live. Since doing good deeds can accumulate merit and blessings, can I offset part of it by doing more good deeds in my limited life?" After hearing this, Suzuran immediately asked, "Can merit and blessings be transferred?" I don't know if I have any merits or blessings. If I do, can I give mine to Sister Xiao? If I don't have it, what should I do to accumulate merit and blessings for her? After finishing his words, before Pei Anzu could respond, Zhao Yanshi refused. Lily of the Valley, no. You lived a miserable life in your last life. If you transfer your merits and blessings to others, you will have no hope in the next life. Linglan heard the underlying meaning from Zhao Yanshi's words. You mean it can be transferred? King Zhu, immortal lord, please help me. I am the one who has wronged Sister Xiao, and I am willing to atone for my sins. Pei Anzu shook his head and said. You do have to atone for your sins, but this matter is ultimately Zhao Yanshi's fault. You should not be made to bear the main responsibility. Even if the merits and blessings can really be transferred, it should be him. Zhao Yanshi, I am not the kind of person who is unkind. I will give you one last chance. You are selfish and do many evil things, so you should have no merit, but if you are willing to overdraw your blessings in the next few lives and offset the consumption of the life-extending magic for Qin Xiao, then I will teach Linglan the technique of repairing the soul. Aren't you willing to give everything for Lily of the Valley? You will spend at least 5 more lifetimes of wandering and living at the bottom of society in exchange for a peaceful life in this life for Qin Xiao, and for Linglan to have a soul-repairing technique. So, everyone is happy, what do you think? After hearing this, Zhao Yanshi had a look of hesitation on his face. Seeing this, Pei Anzu felt even more ironic. This man kept saying it was for Lily of the Valley, and did everything under the guise of for Lily of the Valley, but when it was his turn to actually sacrifice himself, he was unwilling to do it. Once he was willing to change from a human to a ghost, just because he knew that after becoming a ghost, he would not die, but would be freer, and there was no harm to him. But now, when it comes to his own interests, he hesitates and hesitates. The moment the truth was revealed, Qin Xiao suddenly woke up and saw through this man's nature. When he saw this, he taunted. Yo, I thought your love was so great. You can do something like sending your fiancé to the bandits, but you don't want to overextend your own blessings. Your great love is all at the expense of others. Suzuran also looked at him with a disappointed look. Pei Anzu said at this time. You'd better understand that by asking you if you are willing, I am giving you the last chance to atone for your sins. If you insist on not agreeing, there is nothing I can do. But if I do it, it won't be for 5 lifetimes. Please think carefully. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Yanshi couldn't wait to speak. I agree. He has seen Pei Anzu's strength, and the red lines of the talisman array on her body were so trapped that he couldn't move. This young woman is really capable of keeping her word. In order not to fall into a more miserable situation, he could only agree. Suzuran saw this and sneered. It seemed like she didn't say anything, but the contempt in it was about to overflow. Okay, let's sign this contract. After Pei Anzu finished speaking, he took out a piece of yellow paper and wrote a contract on it. The content is probably what she said, and it seems very casual. But Zhao Yanshi, a 300-year-old ghost king, knew very well that this seemingly inconspicuous contract exuded a powerful energy. That is the avenue of cause and effect, the law of heaven and earth. He couldn't help but think to himself. Who is this King Zhu, immortal lord? He has been wandering around the world for 300 years and has dealt with many Suanmen sections. However, whether it is Quanzhen or Zhenji, whether it is Mission or Qingcheng Mountain, there seems to be no disciple who is so defiant. A contract written casually has the power to destroy the world. At this moment, he could no longer think of any resistance. Zhao Yanshi signed the contract in accordance with Pei Anzu's request. The moment his name fell, there seemed to be a line of cause and effect that completely bound his ghost body. Until he fulfills his promise in the contract, this line of cause and effect will accompany him throughout his life. No matter how many times he reincarnates or where he is, Pei Anzu can find him. After signing the contract, Pei Anzu made a sign with his hands, and then the contract floated in the air, ignited without fire, and eventually turned into ashes and disappeared. At this moment, there was a knock on the door outside the lounge. "Miss Jean, Mr. Zhao, the ceremony is about to begin. We need to check the makeup and costumes again and make final preparations." Qin Xiao suddenly became nervous and subconsciously looked at Pei Anzu for help. "It's okay, go ahead." Pei Anzu nodded. "I won't untie the talisman array on his body, but I will use a blinding method to prevent others from seeing it. He can't hurt you." Perhaps it was Pei Anzu's ability that gave Qin Xiao confidence. She took a deep breath, stood up slowly, and said to Zhao Yanshu with a cold face, "How you pretended to be in the past, you'd better keep pretending on stage today. You owe me this." After saying that, Qin Xiao closed his eyes and opened them quickly. In the blink of an eye, his face changed, with a smile full of tenderness. It was as if she was really going to marry the man she loved most in her life. I have to say that at some point, women are born to be masters of acting. The groom and the bride of this wedding went out hand in hand, and suddenly only Pei Anzu and Linglan were left in the lounge. Pei Anzu looked at Linglan and said, "Your soul body was seriously injured. It was severely injured by the talisman formation drawn by a powerful metaphysician. It damaged your foundation at that time and gave your soul body a wound that can never be healed. No matter how much cultivation Zhao Yanshu gives you, this wound is like an inverted funnel. Less goes in and more comes out, which will cause those cultivations to drain away quickly without you realizing it. Even if you practice on your own, your cultivation will not be able to block that gap. As time goes by, your soul will become weaker and weaker until your soul is gone." Suzuran seemed to have known her situation for a long time. A flash of sadness flashed across her eyes, and then she raised her head again and said with a smile, "I know, this is what I deserve. Originally, I was supposed to be waiting for reincarnation in the underworld, but I was called back to the human world after 300 years of leisurely life. I was still with the one I loved. Since you have received benefits, you must pay the price. King Zhu, immortal lord, I don't need you to teach me the skills to repair my soul. I only hope to help Sister Xiao. This is what I owe her." The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 87. Pei Anzu felt a little emotional for a moment after hearing Ling Yan's words. "I feel deeply that this girl was originally a very good girl, but she has been living in the deception of men. Mingming has never taken the initiative to do evil, but he owes a debt of karma because he enjoyed the vested interests brought by Zhao Yanshu. Fortunately, she was good-hearted and knew that her debts must be repaid, so Pei Anzu was willing to give her a chance. So, Pei Anzu opened his mouth and said, teaching you the skills to repair the soul is one of the contracts between me and Zhao Yanshu. The price he paid is the next 5 lives, so I must fulfill my promise. This is my cause and effect. You don't have to feel any psychological burden. If you really want to help Qin Xiao, then I ask you, are you willing to become her guardian spirit?" Suzuran was stunned and asked, "What is a guardian spirit?" Pei Anzu frowned slightly and tried to find a more understandable explanation. Guardian spirit, as the name suggests, is a kind of spiritual body, which is invisible and intangible. No one knows their existence except the owner. All things have animism, but all things that give birth to spiritual wisdom can become guardian spirits. For example, a little girl's favorite rag doll, a black cat or dog that grew up with a little boy, or even a carefully maintained flower or grass can be used. The most important thing about becoming a guardian spirit is to protect the owner's safety, make the owner's daily life safe and smooth, and when the owner encounters extremely dangerous situations, take the initiative to protect the owner from disasters, etc. The effect is similar to that of an amulet, but the difference is that the guardian spirit can speak and act, and can make friends with its owner. Following Pei Anzu's explanation, Linglan's eyes burst into light. She likes the identity of this guardian spirit very much. If immortal King Zu can teach her the technique of repairing the soul, then she will definitely not collapse in a while, so that she will have more time to protect Sister Xiao. So Suzerain nodded without hesitation, I do. Pei Anzu saw that Linglan agreed so readily and without any effort, so he said a few more words. Qin Xiao's situation is a bit special, being her guardian spirit requires more responsibilities. She used sorcery to extend her life. Again, although she didn't know it, she was a vested interest and enjoyed the benefits of extending her life, so she also had to pay the price. Merits and blessings are just one of them. I have already taken them back from Xiaoyanshu, but what really needs attention is the way of heaven. Heaven will not allow such evil magic to exist. This kind of reversal of cause and effect will be considered by heaven to be disturbing the order of the world. After all, birth, old age, illness and death are the norms of the world. If someone just wants to continue his life, he will continue his life. Isn't that a mess? So, the order of heaven will subconsciously target those who use evil magic and go against heaven. In short, Qin Xiao's fortune may not be very good in the future. It's not really bad luck, I guess it's just that my daily life is not going smoothly. I get injured or suffer disasters every 3 days, and these need to be blocked by a guardian spirit. After hearing this, Linglan not only did not flinch, but felt heartbroken for Qin Xiao's experience. It's all because of Xiaoyanshu. He hit it too deeply. I didn't realize that he was such a person. He has troubled Sister Xiao for 2 lifetimes. King Zu, immortal lord, if Sister Xiao's life is not going well in the future, then I will become her guardian spirit. She is so innocent, it is my honor to help her. Pei Anzu nodded, okay, let's sign the contract. After saying that, she took out the yellow paper and wrote the contract as before, and asked Linglan to sign it, and then warned the world that the cause and effect had been fulfilled. After doing all this, Pei Anzu spoke again. You will still live in that green bead in the future. I will eliminate its ghost and evil spirit, burn the formation on it, and make it into a talisman. I will transfer the bead to Qin Xiao and let her wear it. As for you, it's up to you whether you want to show up in front of Qin Xiao. Whether they want to protect Qin Xiao silently or resolve the knot in Qin Xiao's heart, it is their own choice for the two of them to become friends again. Pei Anzu gave her a chance, and she stopped getting involved in the rest of the matter. Linglan nodded. She realized Pei Anzu's kindness, so she bowed deeply and sincerely thanked. I haven't read any books, and I don't understand any big principles, but I know that a drop of water will repay you with a spring of spring. The kindness of King Zu, immortal lord, will never be forgotten by Suzerain. It's just that I have to repay my debt to Sister Xiao in this life, so I can only repay the kindness of King Zu, immortal lord, in the next life. Only after you truly become a ghost and know that there really is an underworld and reincarnation in this world, can you realize that the word afterlife is not an empty talk. There is the order of cause and effect. Even if she forgets everything after reincarnation, the cause and effect will remind her to repay her kindness. Pei Anzu said nothing more, just nodded and took the green bead into his hand. Suzerain's body swayed and turned into a wisp of smoke, getting into the green beads. After finishing all this, Pei Anzu left the lounge, returned to his room upstairs, and began to eliminate the evil spirits and ghost spirits on the beads. She made the green beads into a talisman, punched a hole in them and threaded a red string through them. This bead was made from the corpse of Xiaoyanshu. It sounds disgusting and unlucky, but in fact, in the eyes of a skilled refiner, anything can be used as a material for refining. Even if it's a corpse, it's not just human corpses, but also those of animals, plants, and monsters. But the moment the bead was formed, it broke away from the category of a corpse and became a magical weapon, which had nothing to do with the original corpse. What's more, this bead is emerald green, clear, and has a faint blue color, and the ghost of Lily of the Valley is soaked in it, making it look full of luster and sparkle. It actually looks more exquisite than those priceless jade and jade. For Miss Jean to wear this, it is not an insult to her status. After Pei Anzu made the amulet, he taught Linglin another skill. As long as he meditates and practices well, step by step, he can mend his soul and heal his injuries. At the same time, Pei Anzu also told her, the guardian spirit contract between you and Qin Xiao is an equal contract. You cannot hurt her, and she cannot find other Suanmen people to hurt you. Time is this life, until Qin Xiao's life comes to an end. So you practice well, and when this life is over, you will be completely free. By then you will have a complete soul, and your reincarnation will be smoother. After all, if the soul is mutilated, you may become a fool if you are reincarnated. Suzuran was so grateful that she even knelt down and kowtowed a few times to Pei Anzu. If the ghost hadn't been able to touch the entity, she would have made several holes in the floor. At this point, the whole matter can be considered to be more than half solved. In the banquet hall downstairs, the wedding is still going on. After waiting for the guests to come and go, Qin Xiao still has a difficulty to overcome. I don't know whether the parents of the Qin family in this life value face more or their daughters. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 88. Chapter 88. There are still accounts to be settled. Qin Xiao walked through the entire wedding ceremony with the air of a wealthy lady. No one knew how aggrieved she felt inside. After seeing off all the guests, she couldn't wait to go home, so she opened a presidential suite on the top floor of the Landing Hotel and brought her parents and Zhao Yanchu up. Xiao Yu, what are you doing? Qin Mingxiu, the head of the Qin family, was a little confused. The wedding is over. You and Yanshu should go back to your wedding room. What are you doing here? Qin Xiao thought about it for a while and said, Dad, Mom, I have something important to tell you. This matter will subvert your three views and cognition, but I am sure that what I am telling you is the truth. You can make your decision after I finish everything. Then she confessed the whole story to her parents, from the past life mentioned by Zhao Yanshu to the present day when he was using marriage to defraud. Every word was missed. Zhao Yanshu was listening on the sidelines. He couldn't restrain himself, couldn't interrupt, and couldn't refute. After the long narration, the room fell into silence. After a long time, Qin Mingxiu finally spoke. Where is the master you mentioned? Can you please come up and see her? I'll contact her. Qin Xiao nodded. Just when Qin Xiao went to call Pei Anzu, Qin Mingxiu and his wife He Junru looked at each other, walked aside and whispered. A young girl in her early 20s, live streaming online, wearing a mask, is this all right? He Junru nodded affirmatively and said. Yes, the Shen family should be looking for her. Although the Shen family kept it a secret, during this period, the Shen family's business has been going more smoothly than before, and it may have something to do with her. There is no airtight wall in this world. The Qin family is also considered to be the top family in the circle of wealthy families in Yunqing, and some information can still be obtained. It is said that the Shen family had some problems some time ago, so they found a master with high skills to resolve them. Although I don't know what the master did specifically, the Shen family is indeed much smoother than before. More importantly, when Mrs. Shen appeared in Pei Anzu's live broadcast room under the name Pei Anzu, she did not make any cover-up. Ordinary people may not know Mrs. Shen, a wealthy lady, but people in the same circle must know her. In this way, everyone assumes that the master the Shen family is looking for is the Qingzu immortal lord who tells fortunes wearing a Nyo mask on the Dolphin live broadcast platform. But Qingzu Fairy is very mysterious, and she never shows her true face in the live broadcast room. Even if someone goes to check, nothing can be found. First, Kui Yun is the only one who knows Pei Anzu's identity on the Dolphin live broadcasting platform. Kui Yun signed an agreement with Pei Anzu and will not disclose her information. Second, Some people also tried to send private messages to Pei Anzu, but in the face of coercion and inducement from all parties, Pei Anzu was humble and flattering, and he never responded and did not give anyone any chance to take advantage of the loopholes. Thirdly, some people tried to stay in the live broadcast room, hoping to exchange a chance to contact her with a reward for a sea view villa, but for some reason, they never succeeded. So far, except for the customers Pei Anzu has met offline, almost no one knows what she looks like. Some people have also tried to start with Pei Anzu's offline customers. They checked adventurer Xiaoying, they checked low girl Shan Shan, they checked Krypton money changes life. What's strange is that whenever they ask what Kingzhu Immortal Lord looks like, those who have seen her before can't remember it without exception. In the minds of these people, they remember everything related to Kingzhu Immortal Lord, but they can't remember her appearance, only a vague face, and even her voice is slightly distorted. They can only remember Pei Anzu's appearance when they see her next time. I checked around and found nothing. This also makes people more certain that this Kingzhu Immortal Lord is an extraordinary person, and her method of blurring people's memories is really comparable to that of a god. However, the Qin family did not expect that in such a twist of events, their daughter would actually become a destined person in the live broadcast room. Even because of this wedding, such a capable master was brought to them. Pei Anzu lived in the Lanting Hotel, which was a few floors lower than the Qin family. After receiving a call from Qin Xiao, she came to the presidential suite with green beads. Mr. Qin, MRS Qin, hello, I am Pei Anzu, and I am also the Kingzhu Immortal Lord. Qin Mingxiu immediately stretched out his hand and greeted with a smile. Hello, Master Pei, I am Xiao's father. You are worried about this child. However, Xiao is not a Taoist practitioner after all, and many things cannot be explained clearly. I would venture to ask, does the evil spell on her body matter? Will it cause any other harm to her? When Qin Mingxiu asked this question, there was a hint of nervousness in Qin Mingxiu's eyes, and the concern and care hidden in it did not seem to be fake. He is very worried about his daughter. It's just that maybe he has been in a high position all year round and wears a mask, so that he is stingy in expressing his love, so that his love cannot be conveyed to Qin Xiao. Therefore, when Qin Xiao saw her father like this, her face was filled with astonishment. Dad. Qin Mingxiu ignored her and continued to say to Pei Anzu. Master Pei, don't mind my talking too much, it's just that the method of extending one's life is called evil magic. With the word evil in it, it doesn't sound like a good thing. If it has any bad influence on Xiao, just tell us. As parents, we will do our best to help our children. Do you need merit and blessings? I will immediately send people to build schools in mountainous areas and medical stations in poor areas. We will do it in the name of Xiao. Can you accumulate some blessings for her? The Qin family also does charity every year. For large enterprises, charity is also a reasonable way to avoid taxes, so the Qin family has done it without spending much thought on it. The Qin family, unlike the Shen family, regards charity as a social responsibility. But compared to those companies that earn nothing, evade taxes, give and take bribes, and sell shoddy goods, the Qin family is already pretty good. If the Qin family can do charity more sincerely for Qin Xiao in the future, it will also be a meritorious deed. This merit will also be attributed to Pei Anzu. After all, she was the one who made it happen. Useful. Pei Anzu nodded. I will tell you two more about Miss Qin in detail, and I will also tell you what you can do to help her. So Pei Anzu explained these things carefully again. Finally, she took out the green bead, handed it to Qin Xiao, and told her. I have already told you the price of your forced life extension. Wearing this amulet with you will protect you for the rest of your life. As for Zhao Yanchu, I will take him away. I have helped you to get back what he owes you, but he has also committed many other sins, and the account has not been settled yet. I will send him to the underworld for trial. Based on his sins, I am afraid he will have to serve more than 500 years in the 18th level of before he can get a chance to be reincarnated. So, you don't have to worry about him plotting against you anymore. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 89. Chapter 89 Follow-up to the Qin family incident. After negotiating with the Qin family, Pei Anzu put Zhao Yanchu into the talisman and took him away. She needs to open the gate of again and send this ghost king who has done evil in the world for 300 years to the underworld and make him pay the price he deserves. As for the Qin family, they are not idle either. First of all, it's the popularity of the live broadcast room of King Zhuxianjun. Although most of the netizens in the live broadcast room are mainly interested in eating and watching the fun, and will not get to the bottom of it, there is no guarantee that there will be no accidents. What the Qin family has to do is to control the discussion of this matter within a certain range. So the Qin family spent money to suppress the popularity of this matter. Not only was there no recorded version on the Dolphin Live platform, but discussion of the matter was also prohibited on Weibo. Fortunately, Qin Xiao and Zhao Yanchu are not household names. Under the arrangements of the Qin family, this matter is over. Without discussion, the Qin family would not be a topic of conversation among netizens, and it would not have much impact on Qin Xiao's reputation and future. Secondly, it is Zhao Yanchu's social relations in the human world. Zhao Yanchu has an identity in the human world after cultivating his physical body as a ghost. Even if he didn't have close friendships with too many people in order to keep the secret, he could not change the fact that he went to teach at the university in order to get close to Qin Xiao. Now that he is thrown into the underworld, if he is not handled properly, it will inevitably have negative effects. Fortunately, Qin Xiao has already held a wedding ceremony with him. Although she has not yet received the wedding certificate, she is also known as Mrs. Zhao. This status allows her to make some decisions on behalf of Zhao Yanchu. So Qin Xiao went to the university where Zhao Yanchu taught and submitted his resignation. She said about the school. In order to hone her abilities, her family arranged for her to practice in a company in another place. As her husband, Zhao Yanchu did not want to be separated from her, so he wanted to go together. This reason also applies to the Qin family's social circle. Qin Xiao planned to take her husband to another place for a while, and then come back after a few years when things calmed down. Then she would announce to the public that she and Zhao Yanchu were not on good terms and had divorced. No one will investigate where Zhao Yanchu went, and the impact of this incident will be controlled to a minimum. All this was done in one day. That night, Qin Xiao packed his luggage, took a few reliable assistants and subordinates, and headed to a small city arranged by Qin Mingxiu. Before leaving, he Junru took Qin Xiao's hand and said sincerely, "Xiao, I've wronged you. Don't worry, we won't let you stay in a remote place forever. After a while, when there is no more news about this matter in the circle, we will take you back." After hearing this, Qin Xiao's eyes were moist and she couldn't help but murmured, "I thought you just wanted to use me as a marriage tool, so you had to arrange for me to go on a blind date when I just graduated from college." She is 26 years old this year and just graduated from college 3 years ago. At that time, when she heard that her parents asked her to go on a blind date and get married, she thought that her parents were using her marriage as a bargaining chip in order to expand their network of contacts and gain benefits. He Junru showed a surprised look and asked, "Why do you think so? You are the daughter we have grown up in the palm of our hands. Even if you never marry, we can't support you for the rest of your life. Besides, if we really want to use your marriage as a bargaining chip, then there are so many young talents from 3 surnames, 4 families, and 5 households in Yunqing. Why should we find a university teacher whose parents are both dead? It's not just because he has no father and mother, you don't need to look at the parents-in-law's favor when you marry him, and his family background is lower than ours. If you are wronged, we can support you. To put it bluntly, this marriage seems to be a marriage. In fact, the Qin family's parents also carefully chose Zhao Yanchu as Qin Xiao's husband. It's just that they don't know that Zhao Yanchu is a ghost king. But I was only 23 at that time. Why are you so anxious? Qin Xiao was even more confused. She didn't understand the meaning of her parents asking her to get married quickly. So she had always misunderstood before, thinking that her parents did not love her and only valued interests. Qin Mingxiu sighed and said, "Because at that time, your mother and I received an email, which contained many photos of you hanging out with the society. In the photo, you behave intimately and have an ambiguous attitude. The look in your eyes when you look at him is full of love, as if you would risk everything for him at any time. After we received the photo, we checked the person and found out that he is an unlearned social gangster who makes a living by collecting protection fees and occasionally works for some gray industries. What's more, his hands and feet are not clean. He once was in trouble for several years for stealing the boss's money, and he was surrounded by a bunch of local gangsters. We are deeply afraid that you will be confused by such a person and go down a path of no return, so we arranged for you to meet different young talents. We think that if you know more men, you will no longer be obsessed with that kind of person." Qin Xiao didn't expect this to be the reason. She opened her eyes wide and defended. "I don't. I have never met any social gangster, nor have I fallen in love with anyone. I had never been in love before I met Zhao Yanchu." The two statements did not match up, and the Qin family was a little confused for a while. But Qin Mingxiu quickly figured it out. "It seems that this matter was also the work of Zhao Yanchu. In order to get close to you, he got some fake photos to fool us. But when we care, we become confused, and thus we step into his trap. To be honest, if it hadn't been for this incident, the Qin family's parents would never have thought of choosing a husband for Qin Xiao, and Zhao Yanchu just appeared after the news of the Qin family's selection of a son-in-law spread. Zhao Yanchu is the king of ghosts. If he performs illusions or fakes, ordinary people will not be able to tell." Qin Xiao accepted this explanation, but asked, "Why didn't you ask me for confirmation then? If we had asked and explained things clearly earlier, wouldn't there be so many things?" "How dare we ask?" He Junru sighed and shook her head. "Have you forgotten that an aunt from the previous generation of the Ling family had a falling out with the family and eloped with a poor boy? Young people's love is often passionate and impulsive. The greater the pressure and resistance from the outside world, the more they have to overcome all difficulties and come together in order to prove that their love is stronger than gold. The Qin family is afraid that Qin Xiao will follow the same path as the Ling family aunt. So they didn't dare to ask, or even mention it, for fear of irritating Qin Xiao and making her do something crazy for love. A variety of reasons combined led them to come up with this roundabout method. In fact, when Qin Xiao and Zhao Yanchu started dating and their relationship heated up, they felt lucky and believed that their method worked. This is also the reason why Qin Xiao later said that there was something wrong with Zhao Yanchu, but the Qin family's parents did not believe it and insisted not to let her cancel the engagement. They were afraid that she would not be able to think about it and would find the social from before. The misunderstanding between Qin Xiao and her parents was resolved. For a moment, she was dumbfounded and didn't know what to say. If it hadn't been for this misunderstanding, she might not have been fooled by Zhao Yanchu. But her parents' original intention was also for her good, and she couldn't say anything to accuse her. Fortunately, Zhao Yanchu's plan did not succeed, and the current result is not too bad. She has lived for several years in vain, which is not a loss. Qin Xiao smiled, stepped forward and hugged her parents, and then said, "After I leave, remember to thank King Zhu Fairy Lord. She helped me a lot this time. If it weren't for her, our family would have been tricked by Zhao Yanchu." Qin Mingxiu patted her shoulder, nodded and said, "Don't worry, Your dad still has this in mind. The Qin family can be considered one of the 3 top wealthy families in Yunqing, and even Shen King he wants to fawn over Master Suanman. How could he offend him? It's not like I'm tired of living. Qin Xiao left Yunqing and went to a small southwestern city called Panqing. The Qin family started out by making jewelry and jade. There are several large-scale jade mines in the southwest, and most of the raw materials for jewelry and jade in the country have to be purchased from here. Let Qin Xiao go here, although it means to avoid the limelight, but in the final analysis, he also wants her to learn to take over the family business. Start by understanding the mineral, which is the source of all jade jewelry. 8 o'clock in the morning the next day. Qin Mingxiu and He Junru went to Landing Hotel to formally visit Pei Anzu. In addition to thanking her for her help, he also gave her a lockbox containing a thank you gift from Qin Mingxiu. A bank card with a pin on it and 5 million in it. A complete set of top-grade jade jewelry, the finest ice type, clear water green. The total value of the whole set is at least 30 million. There is also an apartment located in a high-end community in Yunqing. I have to say that Qin Mingxiu was very willing and the reward was very generous. Firstly, it was to thank Pei Anzu for saving Qin Xiao, solving the problem of Qin Xiao's evil spell, and saving the Qin family. Just imagine, if Zhao Yunqi's plan is really successful, then in the near future, the person in Qin Xiao's body will be Linglan. The only daughter had a different person, but they had no idea about it. In the end, all the Qin family's property was handed over to Zhao Yunqi and the others, and the Qin family's long-standing legacy would be destroyed in one day. Compared to the Qin family's foundation, this reward is nothing. Secondly, Qin Mingxiu also had some thoughts of competing with Shen Qinghe. It is also the top giants of Yunqing. He also has a friendship with Pei Anzu. Naturally, Qin Mingxiu will not pick up search and make himself look good. Pei Anzu was not polite. She accepted all the thank you gifts. After all, this was what she deserved. Master Pei, if you have something else to do, we won't bother you. Why don't you leave us your contact information? He Junru asked tentatively. If anything happens in the future, I will have to rely on Master Pei. Pei Anzu opened WeChat and called up the QR code. Sweep me. As for customers, of course the more the better, especially those like the Qin family and the Shen family, who are the bread and butter of their parents. One business deal with them can make more money than her 100 live broadcasts. He Junru added Pei Anzu's WeChat message, and the couple said goodbye with satisfaction. The time pointed to 9 o'clock. Pei Anzu put on a mask and opened the live broadcast room of the Dolphin platform, intending to make up for the 3 hexagrams that he failed to complete yesterday. Since she informed it at the end of yesterday, a large number of viewers poured in as soon as it started broadcasting, and the number of views surged for a while, making it the #1 broadcast on the Dolphin platform during the current period. End of this chapter. The real daughter has become famous all over the world for fortune-telling. Author, Wang Chris Bone. Chapter 90. The audience is asking about the follow-up to yesterday's Qin family incident. King Zhu, immortal lord, has that ghost king been solved? Curious, what price did the ghost king pay? He is so bad that he must not be sent to the 18th level of and never be reincarnated? What a hateful scumbag. Both young ladies were harmed by him. I am a Douyi blogger who is a self-media blogger. I want to write the story of the Ghost King into a script and make it into a short play. Can it be done? Publishing royalties are available. There's a talent upstairs. Pei Anzu looked at the questions on the barrage and selected a few answers. You are right about your guess. The Ghost King was sent to the 18th level of to serve his sentence. Everyone should take this as a warning and do more good deeds while alive. It is no joke that evil will be rewarded with evil. The endings of the 2 young ladies are pretty good, please rest assured. It's okay to make a short play, and I don't want the copyright fee, but you have to indicate the source of the material, ensure the authenticity and integrity of the story, don't whitewash the scumbag, and try not to involve real places and names. While asking and answering questions with the audience in the live broadcast room, time passed slowly. The live broadcast is started today to make up for the 2 hexagrams that were missing yesterday. Ever since signing the contract, Pei Anzu has set a rule for himself that every live broadcast must be 3 hexagrams in order to have enough exposure and earn enough money. That was true in the beginning. But later on, as the customers we met became more and more generous, and customers introduced customers, the 3 hexagrams standard no longer needed to be implemented. Especially like this time, it took a whole day just to deal with the Qin family's problems. This is only possible because the Qin family and she are in the same city and very close to each other, otherwise it will only take longer. Pei Anzu has thought carefully about it, and she will spend more time offline in the future. So, she plans to modify the rules after this live broadcast. She does not have to strictly follow the 3 hexagrams, but can be flexible. At about 10 o'clock, someone rewarded me with a sea view villa. This person's name is, and his profile picture looks like a peony blooming in the wind. His style is very similar to that of retired mothers. Pei Anzu guessed that this was a middle-aged lady around 50 years old. Sure enough, the next second, the other party initiated a video connection, and a kind-looking round face appeared in the camera. Caressed in a low bun, looks clean and tidy, and has a smiling expression on her face, which makes people fall in love with her at first sight. As soon as Pei Anzu seemed to be working, he subconsciously sat up straight and asked, "What do you want to ask about?" It was like the first time I played with this kind of live broadcast equipment. I was a little unskilled. I looked left and right before pointing the camera. "Kingzu Immortal Lord, I just want to come and see a wedding date for my son and daughter-in-law. My son was born in 1994 and is a dog. My daughter-in-law is 3 years older than him. She is a sheep in 1991. We have a very good relationship and decided to get married this year. I was looking for someone to find a date. In modern society, many young men and women do not pay much attention to the date when they get married. After all, everyone is busy and under great work pressure, so the wedding date is basically set during the major holidays so that there is enough time. But there are also people who value dates, especially the older generation, who believe in them very much. The lady in front of her is obviously of the latter type. She hopes that her son and daughter-in-law will be smooth and harmonious, so she wants to choose an auspicious day. Pei Anzu has always given blessings to newlyweds who are about to get married. She said, "Please tell me their birth dates, specifying the time of birth, or if they are nearby, ask them to come to the live broadcast room directly, I'll give them a look." The lady waved her hands repeatedly and said, "They are busy, they haven't taken vacation yet and are not at home. I had to ask the guy next door to help me when I entered the live broadcast room. But I remember their birth dates. My son was born on August 23, 1994, which is July 17 according to the lunar calendar. The fetus moved around 4 p.m. and he was born around 10 p.m. As the birth date was announced, Pei Anzu stretched out his fingers to count, while silently reciting some mantras in his heart. After a moment, Pei Anzu smiled. "Congratulations, Aunt, you have found a very good daughter-in-law. Your son and daughter-in-law have 6 horoscopes, which is perfect. It is said that female college students hold gold bricks in their arms. This is not a lie. It is perfectly suitable for your son and daughter-in-law. The two of them are united, and their lives will be smooth and prosperous in the future. However, this wedding date is a bit difficult. My suggestion is that it is best not to get married this year. The earliest is March next year. What do you think?" At first, when Pei Anzu said that his son and daughter-in-law were a good match, he immediately beamed with joy. But when he heard that the wedding date was difficult to arrange, he became a little sad and asked, "Can I ask why?" To be honest, as parents, when we see that our children have a good relationship, we hope to get married as soon as possible, which can be regarded as a solution to our worries. It will be postponed until March next year, and we don't know what will happen in the meantime. Pei Anzu paused and explained. Your son and daughter-in-law's horoscopes are very good, but they don't match the dates in recent months. It's not bad, but if you have to get married, there must be some taboos. For example, there are good dates in the next 2 months, but if there is a wedding, the woman's parents cannot attend the wedding, and other elders will have to do the speech on the stage. In addition, after the wedding, the woman cannot come back within a month. In the next 2 months, the groom's parents must avoid hearing the sound of firecrackers on the day of the wedding. They cannot stay at home between midnight and midnight in the morning, entertain guests and receive guests. They also need to make arrangements for others. Pei Anzu has learned about weddings and funerals in this world. Different places have different customs. A man and a woman come together to hold a wedding ceremony directly. There are also cases where a wedding banquet is held at the woman's side one day and the formal wedding banquet is held at the groom's side the next day. Some people choose to hold it in a hotel, and some people choose to hold it at their own home. For those who have self-built houses in rural areas like Huahauyuan, the space is spacious, and neighbors and villagers are willing to help, and they will basically choose to hold wedding banquets in their own homes. In some places where firecrackers are allowed, firecrackers must be set off to celebrate. If we really want to hold a wedding according to Pei Anzu's request, both men and women must have many taboos. But no matter which parent it is, if their children do not attend or are not at home on such an important day, everyone will feel uncomfortable. So, if you really want to handle it well, just postpone it and wait a few more months. When the date is good, there will be no taboos. Listen carefully and write down what Pei Anzu said word for word. Kingzu, immortal lord, I can't make a decision yet. It mainly depends on whether my son and daughter-in-law can take leave by then. Look, can I go back and discuss it with them, and then come back to you? Okay, Pei Anzu nodded. After you have discussed it, you can send me a private message in the background. I will reply to you when I see it and help you set a suitable date. Okay, thank you, Kingzu, immortal lord. After hearing this, Hua Haoyuiwen left the live broadcast room with satisfaction. This is probably the easiest calculation that Pei Anzu has made since he started live broadcasting.